Iran grants Hormuz Strait transit fee exemptions for some countries. Iran has granted exemptions to some countries, including Russia, in transit fees for passage through the Strait of Hormuz. Iranian ambassador to Russia, Qasem Jalali said, citing foreign media. We have currently provided exceptions for some countries, but I don't know what will happen in the future. However, our foreign ministry is currently trying to implement the exceptions envisioned for friendly countries such as Russia, the ambassador said. Iran has announced plans to charge fees on passage through the Strait of Hormuz following the US-Israeli attacks against the country, citing costs related to ensuring the security of the strategic waterway. It also stated that it has closed the strait and will reopen it once the US naval blockade is fully lifted. First Deputy Speaker of the Iranian Parliament, Hamid Reza Haji Babei, said on Thursday that Iran has collected transit fees through the strait for the first time, with the funds transferred to the country's central bank. The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow choke point between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, serves as the only maritime outlet to the open ocean. Before the conflict, around 20 million barrels of oil passed through it daily, approximately one-fifth of global consumption. Another breaking news is that Iran's chief negotiator Ghalibaf resigned. Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, the leader of Iran's negotiation team with the United States, resigned due to international disagreements, according to sources familiar with the situation. Ghalibaf was reprimanded for attempting to include the nuclear issue in talks with Washington and was forced to resign, according to the sources. A possible shake-up has been floated, with hardline politician Saeed Jalili potentially replacing Ghalibaf as head of the negotiating team. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi is also seeking to take over the negotiations, sources said. The situation around the Strait of Hormuz is once again becoming one of the central pressure points of global politics. It's now the number one issue, at least until military action by the United States against Iran potentially resumes. This narrow maritime corridor, through which a significant share of global oil supplies passes, has long ceased to be merely a geographic location on the map and has instead become a tool of pressure and a focal point of major geopolitical rivalry. At first glance, the situation appears to be another cycle of escalation, marked by mutual statements, demonstrations of military readiness, threats to block shipping, and the increased presence of external actors. However, behind this familiar pattern lies a far more complex configuration of interests. Experts note that the Strait of Hormuz is not only an energy artery, but also a kind of barometer of global mistrust. Any escalation here is immediately reflected in markets, triggering increases in the prices of oil, gas, fertilizers, and other commodities. Tehran is developing its own system for regulating maritime transit. Fees have been introduced which, according to Iranian officials, can reach millions of dollars for certain categories of vessels. Formally, the principle of openness for international navigation remains in place, but with exceptions for a number of countries, including Russia, India, China, Iraq, and Pakistan. This approach is creating a new model of selective access, which economic and political allies are placed in more advantageous position. At the same time, there are increasing reports of mining activity, tanker attacks, and operations involving fast attack boats of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. All of these contributes to rising tension rather than de-escalation. Even without a full closure of the strait or direct naval clashes, the level of threat itself has become a deterrent to shipping. Many tankers are choosing to avoid the route, fearing damage or detention, and such concerns are not without basis. Both the United States and Iran claim full control over the strait. US President Donald Trump has stated that no vessel can enter or leave without permission from the US Navy. Reports indicate that Iran has intensified mining operations in recent days. If Trump's statements are to be believed, the US Navy has been ordered to destroy any vessels engaged in such activity.